people may not know that you wrote a best-selling book.
Right.
Can you tell us about that experience? And specifically, why did you write it in the fashion that you did?
Well, you should know because you sold it. Anyway, you did. Susan, she was working at Reader's Digest at the time, and anyway, yeah. I remember started off to write a couple of stories for the magazine or whatever. So because people know me with these kind of like Forrest Gump kind of stories. I mean, what am I doing here? I mean, crazy stuff like I was literally kidnapped by the President of the United States' daughter at the White House, truly, or meeting Elvis Presley in a parking lot, or whatever. Crazy stories. But so I started writing up a couple of these stories for Susan, and I'm sitting there, and I go, you know something? There would be no stories without Willie Turner. And also, it turned around where if it wasn't for this magical man who happened to be my janitorial boss in high school. I was hired as an assistant janitor at Leonard's department store, and Willie Turner was my boss. And I was 15 years old and not very insecure because of my upbringing and just kind of a mess. And Willie, who was not well educated, but a functioning alcoholic, but the heart of a prophet. And he had so many friends from his whole, he was a giver, not a taker. And he called his janitorial room the talk room. And he had 2 oil jump cans there, and we'd sit there and talk. He was one of the first adults that I was close to that talked to me, not at me. And Willie really, really helped me find me. By the time I was done with that job, I knew where I was going, where I was heading. I wouldn't be on this I wouldn't be on the show right now if it wasn't for Willie Turner. I'd be nothing. I'd be a number. But he helped me find me. So I wrote out. So I did a couple of stories, but I put in a little introduction about Willie Turner, and the only reason why I'm able to write these stories. And the publisher, right? The publisher of Reader's Digest said, "This is a book." So it basically turned into a really kind of a motivational self-help book. It was paying Willie forward. I wanted to put everybody in the talk room and have the same opportunity to talk with Willie, get the same lessons that benefited me in their lives. And I wanted to bring him back. It was payback because he died when I was 19, 2 years later. Yeah, but he died when I was about 19 years old before I had any success. But it was a way to pay Willie forward, heartfeltly and honestly, and to continue his magic in book form. So some other individual like me might change their life. It just might spark something that opens the door for them. So every story in it, it's all Forrest Gump stories, crazy stories. I mean, like, what am I doing here? But there's always a bigger story. And the bigger story is Willie, how I got there, the lesson learned from Willie, putting the reader back into the talk room and letting them have the same experience I had that really empowered me and changed my life. And it's called Singing to a Bulldog.
It's a terrific book. It is a terrific, easy read, terrific book. And if you haven't read it, I urge you to read it because it's really good. It's really inspirational. And there's some really even better stories than Anson told here tonight.
And a couple that he did. It's a beautiful book. And he also, to his testament, he did it in 30 days. It's 30 days, and he wrote a story a day. So yeah. It's a nice read a story a day book too.
Which is also inspirational.